Alrighty, welcome to another Frog Pop-Tart video. Today we're going to be talking about the Dragonflight Rogue talent trees. You know, there's the Rogue dev says that they're taking suggestions and feedback and such right now, so we're going to submit our suggestions and feedback as asked and talk about the spec a little bit. So this is more from a PvP perspective, as are most things that I do. So we're gonna, now some of this, applies to everything, of course. Some of it's gonna apply to everything, but I always tend to look at things through a little bit of a PvP lens. But of course, I do want to talk a lot about fun factors, because I feel like there are some fun factors that are messed up a bit. So I guess first let's talk about this general tree. I think there's a few things that are weird about it, for sure. This well, let's see, like this shadow dance. Like, I think all this, we'll look at this together. Like all this ambush stealth stuff for Outlaw, and then like this shadow dance line, I feel like it's very weird. I don't think I feel like Shadow Dance should be a subtlety thing. It's their iconic spell. It's very strange to me that every rogue spec will be able to pick it and may want to pick it. That's a little odd to me. I just think that's a little odd. It's okay. It's definitely not my least favorite thing that's going on here, but I do think it's a little odd. I don't love that. So, whatever. The Echoing Reprimand line. I'm also, I sound like a hater, but I didn't enjoy Echoing Reprimand, but I think it is a reasonable thing to have in the tree. Some people do like this play style. I think it's a fair option to have. It's not like Shadow Dance, where I feel like Shadow Dance is kind of having it in here kind of takes something from subtlety in a way that I don't think is ideal. Echoing Reprimand I think is fine. The stuff before it, I know PvEers are not happy about all of the stuff that comes before getting Echoing Reprimand, but yeah, Echoing Reprimand, I will not be playing this no matter how good it is, because I don't like the Anima Charge combo point mechanic at all. I don't think it's fun, but that's okay. Some people do like it, and that's fine. I do wonder what's going to happen to it, though, because the Anima Charge combo point feature is found in the Outlaw and Subtlety tree. Right here, Heavy Hitter. Ambush supercharges one combo point for 45 seconds. And in Subtlety, it is here, right? Yeah. So I think it's a little that'll be interesting. So maybe maybe the Anima Charge combo points are being removed from those other two trees, or being removed from here. I don't really know. I think Echo Reprimand is fine. Like I said, PvPers, they hate that all this utility comes before it, whereas these other sides are more DPS focused and the things you need. So anyway, whatever. Echoing Reprimand, I think this is fine. I think this is pretty good. And of course, people are really, like I said, they're really whining to get this to be DPS stuff instead of utility stuff this deep in the tree, which I do think is kind of unusual, because cheat death, well, PvEers are going to want cheat death for sure. PvP, I don't know, sometimes cheat death doesn't really matter, you just get blown up anyway, but that's okay. But so, PvEers want cheat death, they want fighting weakness, they want Shadow Dance, they want Seal Fate, so it's kind of awkward, to have this next to all this DPS stuff. So whatever. And the final line for the bottom, Thistletea. Wow. So Thistletea, no one is excited for Thistletea. Thistletea is just these sort of abilities are not fun. So I've seen a lot of rogues talk about this. People are hoping that Thistletea isn't good enough to pick. because it's just not. This is not a fun mechanic. And you know, they were talking about on a blue post this week saying like they're going to make Thistle Tea, you know, give energy and then give like some mastery for 6 seconds if you're assassination and that sort of thing. And it's like, yuck. No, just get rid of it. I think what would be a great thing to put here would be some version of Death from Above, which is currently in the PvP talent tree. But this is Death from Above. You know, numbers and stuff, you know, would have to be figured out, but with Death from Above used to be in the Rogue talent tree that everyone could pick. I think in Pandaria or Warlords of Draenor or something it was in there, maybe even Legion too, and then it became a PvP talent in BFA. I could be wrong on that, but something like that. It used to be. This was in the regular talent tree, not a PvP thing. But it's a 15-yard range. You fly up into the air and crash down and use your combo point spender. And, you know, it's fun. It looks cool. I think it's a nice ability. You know, if the damage was there, it'd be a nice ability. But aesthetically, it's cool. It feels fun. I like that sort of thing. I think it'd be nice to have that, you know, a version of Death from Above instead of Thistle Tea. Because, like I said, nobody wants to play Thistle Tea. Thistle Tea is not fun. Okay? Thistle Tea is just not fun. Thistle Tea should go. I think Shadow Dance is weird. And Echo Reprimand, I don't like it, but I think it's fine if it stays. I know other people like it. And of course, I'm not going to like everything. So, anyway. So we'll see what happens in here. I hope there's some big changes to Thistle Tea, and, you know, who knows. I doubt they're going to change Shadow Dance, this Shadow Dance line at this point, but, you know, whatever. I really do hope at least they do something about Thistle Tea. So other parts of the tree, it's, you know, a lot of the same old for the utility. You know, you're just getting back all the stuff you had before. Up here, there's this new atrophic poison. Reduce enemy damage by 3%. Whatever. I think PvEers are excited about that. You know, numbing poison, I think. You know, if you're not using crippling poison, or, you know, who knows what's going to happen to the crippling poison. You know, a lot of times there's like a tier set or something, PvP tier set or PvP gloves or something that make crippling poison auto apply when you use when your other poison applies. I don't think that's coming, but we've definitely had that in the past. I don't think that's coming this time. Doesn't seem to be in, it wasn't in the PvP talent trees. So maybe we'll have to be using crippling poison. I guess it depends. If not, numbing poison, I guess. But there's really not many options for poisons, which, if you look at Assassin, this apply one additional lethal and non-lethal. Your non-lethal options are one of these, crippling poison, and that's it. So you actually don't really have options there. So because there's only three non-lethal poisons, and one of them, well, two of them, you have to pick between the two. So, and I think that's a little bit interesting. But yeah, this other stuff, I like the 50% movement speed. We already have that, but you know, whatever. Put it in the talent tree. I like the 20% non-damage effects of your poisons. That's kind of interesting. So, you know, I think it's okay. Like I said, I've really mostly got issues with the bottom stuff. The top is just getting back what you had before, which seems to be the case for a lot of classes. I think Rogue's defensives are looking decent, which is good. I think it's looking decent. I think there definitely is, you know, if you're interested in PvP, there's so much up here that you have to pick. I don't see that changing, but I should point it out as a reality. Okay, the Assassin Tree. I quite like the Assassin Tree. You know, it hasn't been cleaned up yet. I imagine some of these 3-point nodes are going to go away as they have for, you know, every other class, and some other things that are going to be moved around a bit. But I like this death mark a lot. I think this is a bit cooler than Vendetta, so I'm excited about that. You know, Vendetta's fine, but you know, I like this death mark. It's neat. I like cooldowns that do something kind of interesting. So I think death mark's kind of cool. The where is it? Yeah, I like these. I like these double poisons. I like this a lot. I think this is neat. The this is like the AoE side of the tree. I don't think you're ever gonna pick this, and you know, if you're thinking about like RBG team fight rogue, haha, that's not what rogues should be doing in rated battlegrounds, really. But if you wanted that to be a thing, I think you're gonna have to forget about it because this has 10-yard range. So I don't know, unless everyone's really stacked on, you know, stacked on a node. 10 yards is really not far at all, though. So I wouldn't be. But although AoE bleed is a debilitating thing to do because you know the healer can't just dispel them. There's nothing to be done about it. But still, this is interesting. But not for PvP. It's not. So a lot of this stuff. Sepsis and serrated bone spike might be okay. Where is it? Yeah, but so this definitely not going to be picking this though. Dragon tempered blades. It depends. Kingsbane and Dragon's tempered blades have synergy together. Currently, you're 1 point short. So if any of these become 2-point nodes, or this becomes a 1-point node or something, you'll be able to pick them both. Which they probably don't intend for you to do that because maybe Kingsbane would be too OP if you could. But they might have to just tune Kingsbane around that. So we'll see what happens with this. But I like Dragon Tempered Blades. I think it's fun to have, you know, the 4 poisons. That's kind of neat. Very, you know, like really doubling down on the poison spec. I like Kingsbane too, though. Nothing. What else I have to say about this tree? Not much. I really like this tree. This is actually one of the specs I'm more excited for. You know, there's some stuff that's kind of messy that I think will get changed. But, yeah, I think this is pretty good. I think what really hurts Assassin is picking up, like, lots of little pieces of garbage over here. You know, like, if you end up having to play, like, Thistle Tea and, you know, like, if you have to use, like, Thistle Tea and Echoing Reprimand and, you know, Cold Blood and Marked for Death and, you know, these are just a lot of cooldowns I don't love. So, that will definitely, you know, lower my opinion of Assassination if you've got all these kind of little diddly squat cooldowns that you've got to use. So, yeah, we'll see on that. But Assassin, like I said, I think it's mostly just stuff over here that I think needs to be changed for Assassin to really be great, but I've got very high hopes for the spec. Now, we'll talk about subtlety, since I've got them, you know, probably the least to say about subtlety. Subtlety looks like it's got everything it's ever had. I think this is very interesting. The attacks deal nudge or bleed damage now deal shadow instead, and shadow damage is increased by 20%. And we've also got, where is it at? Somewhere in here, there is this. Your abilities deal 10% increased magic damage. So shadow, so subtlety is going to be bypassing armor with a lot of its spells. Like you pick Gloomblade to replace your backstab, and you've got a lot of talents in here that can make for some really big backstabs. So you're going to be doing these big backstabs that bypass armor. That's going to be kind of crazy. And really looking at this tree, I think the Shadow Dance focused, you know, burst windows might be moving a little bit away from that into something that subtlety really hasn't been before. But I think it'll be good. They've already said, I think Shadow Mist, I believe, they talked about maybe this being changed. I think, not sure to what, but they talked about that. But I'm really interested in all this backstab stuff and having it do shadow damage. You're able to pick up both too. So I think it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be pretty neat, but definitely kind of a funny place for subtlety to be, because it's, you know, I don't know, it's always been like in PvP, it's always been Shadow Dance burst windows, and that's where all of your damage, all your everything is. So that changing might be, that's gonna be kind of interesting. But I don't really have much to say about this tree. Yeah. I think it looks, I think the idea is cool. The ideas they're going for is cool. Outlaw, and I do have a lot to say about Outlaw tree. Outlaw, I think this ambush stuff, like I kind of alluded to before, really strange. Why the ambush stuff? That, I mean, I don't know, I guess everyone's got their own idea of what the spec should be, but to me, Outlaw is the not stealth focused rogue. And that's kind of what it's been this last 2 expansions, is, Outlaw, they, open with a cheap shot or something, just because it's utility. But it's not like a, stealth and all that. It's not really core to the spec. It's just something that it has, which I thought was fine. But all these ambush talents, I don't know. I don't really like that. I think, pistol shot, dispatch, sinister strike, between the eyes. I think that's more of a, I think that's more where the spec should be. Not all this ambush stuff. So I do wish this ambush stuff was something different. The pistol strike stuff, I would like to see the main gauche. Which, by the way, y'all know main gauche is said, it's like main gauche or something. It's French. It's not said. I've never heard anyone say it properly. But apparently that is how you're supposed to say it. Anyway, but main gauche is what I'm going to continue saying. I do wish the pistol shot stuff, like the pistol shot RNG stuff, like the concealed blunderbuss and the tier set that made main gauche fire pistol shots. I liked that. I thought it was neat. I know it wasn't, I know it wasn't super strong, but I do like, I liked the pistol shot RNG stuff. I thought it was cool. I like stuff like that. I've got really, I like fun little RNG stuff. I know that's not always good, but I think it's fun. So I do wish that was back in here in some form. I think the AoE stuff needs to be concentrated more together. Some class trees have it, like there's just a straight line of AoE. That's how it should be. So PvPers can avoid it, and people who want to focus on AoE for PvE can do so. I don't like, this Blade Flurry stuff, like sprinkled in kind of random spots. Not a huge fan of that. But see, I do hope this ambush stuff kind of moves out of here. I don't know if it will. I just think it's really a strange... I think it's a strange place to bring the spec. I think it muddles the spec's identity. I think more, pistol shot, sinister strike kind of stuff should be over here. Or, like this side, between the eyes focused, this cooldown focused, and this side could be like sinister strike, dispatch kind of stuff, or something like that. That's what I would like to see. But yeah, I think... I don't know, I think it's a little bit awkward having ambush chance to double hit. I don't know. I don't know about all that. I think it's weird. Okay. I just imagine like you're playing Outlaw and you're picking all this ambush stuff in Shadow Dance. Like that's just... Like that, as it seems right now, that's what they could end up doing, and it's just kind of... I don't know, that doesn't feel good to me. Trying to think what else I really have to say about Assassin. Oh, no, sorry, about Outlaw. I don't know. I mean, it looks okay. It looks okay as it stands right now. But like I said, I hope some of this stuff changes. The spec tree, I expect this to get a good bit of changes. People don't seem to really love it. I think it's okay, except for the bottom, which is weird, messy. And I was trying to like path this for PvP. And I just feel like you need everything. Like, well, it depends on your spec, I guess, the spec you start with. But you definitely need Blind, you need Sap, you need Cloak of Shadows, you need Gouge, you need Evasion. I think you almost certainly need this Poison thing. You want Wound Poison to stack 2 additional times. You probably do want one of these utility poisons. Or maybe you'll be using Crippling Poison and you won't take these, I guess. So this is a maybe. You're going to want the Crimson Vial stuff, maybe. You're going to want the Sprint thing. You're going to want Prey on the Weak. You're going to want the reduced cost. So it's just kind of... you know, you're gonna want to go into the shadow step thing. Just kind of feel like you want all this, almost all of it, up at the top, which kind of makes the middle parts of the tree, you know, gives you less options down there. So yeah, and it's a little awkward. Also, it doesn't look like they've really changed these at all, except for Dagger in the dark, which has now given to everybody. Whatever. This is a really funny talent. Like, what's the point of this? Like stalking someone in World PvP, just making them uncomfortable, because this puts a debuff on them and they know you're nearby. So it also kind of reveals that there's a rogue nearby. So this in a lot of ways, this Dagger in the dark thing hurts you. But anyway, but I have played with all 3 of these specs on the PTR. I think Assassin feels really fluid and fun. I do hope, you know, like I said, the little changes I hope. I think it feels great. I think Outlaw feels pretty good too, honestly. But there's just, you know, like I said, a few things that are kind of weird about it. And Subtlety, I tend not to really play Subtlety. I do think thematically it's in an awkward spot with everyone getting shadow dance and ambush stuff and blah. But anyway, that's all for this one. You know, let me know what y'all think about the rogue stuff. And you know, the rogue dev said that they're looking for looking for feedback on these rogue trees. Just a little aside, you know, some of these specs with these classes, they're saying like, oh, we're gonna make all these changes. We want feedback, yada yada. And is the Dragonflight really close? Like, the Dragonflight pre-patch is on the PTR right now. Which, by the way, it's on the PTR. Everyone can go play it if you want to test your class. Although you'll be lacking, I think, 5 talent points here and 5 talent points here. You don't really feel it so much on this side, but you really do feel it on this side. Because a lot of the classes would be able to pick, like, 2 capstone nodes, which they can't do on the PTR because you can only be 60. So you need to be 70 to have enough points to get both. And that's the position most specs are in. Anyway. So, yeah, it's on the PTR. I feel like, you know, they're talking about making all these changes, but I feel like the expansion is kind of close. Like, are we really going to get huge changes like they're saying? I'm a little iffy on that, but I hope so. I also hope that this expansion, you know, they're not, like, if a spec ends up being weird garbage, you know, they don't say, you know, it's going to be weird garbage until next expansion. I hope they actually change it in a patch. Like, that makes sense. Anyway, please leave a like and a comment and a subscribe. Help us grow. So I appreciate it. Thank you.